Before we begin, thank you very much to Jacob A. for joining the Patreon campaign. Thank you very much for the contribution. Thank you very much for helping to support the channel. Not a whole lot to say now. I will tell you guys, I finished a big script for a big video. I hope it's going to be the Christmas upload because it is a very special video. So we're going to drop that on the 25th, or maybe earlier if I get it all filmed and edited. It's going to be a bit of a beast, so bear with me. But it's going to be a return of an old school format that I haven't done in a long time. And it's going to be relevant to the channel, and it's going to be kind of a big deal. So keep an eye out for it. One of a million projects I'm working on at the exact same time. You're about to see a whole lot of weird stuff on this channel. However, today is not weird. Today is the news roundup. So we need to go through a week's worth of Transformer news to get you all caught up in exactly what's going on in this franchise. And it starts with this. Now, I love when lost media shows up. I love when we discover new things that have been just completely lost to time. So, we know about animated stuff that didn't come out. The repaints like Goldfire, Grimlock, and Wasp. We know about prototypes that didn't make it to production like Hotshot and Marauder Megatron. And we lament the fact that those toys never existed because they all looked really, really good. And now we're discovering stuff even farther back than that. So, apparently, this is design sketches. Let's get proper credit here. Right. Yeah, so at Kian Carlisle got a hold of CAD drawings from Transformers Animated that never made it into even the prototype stage. Figures they were planning to produce and never made it, including this Cybertronian mode for Bumblebee. They did a bunch of Cybertronian modes. Animated probably went there more often than most toys, or more often than most shows. So to get a few more would have been really, really cool. And hey, yeah, it's another Bumblebee, so you know they would have loved to have done it. And it does actually look pretty cool. I like that it's kind of like Cybertron, almost a Cybertronian dune buggy or off-road vehicle. Yeah, it's just like a sharper version of his Earth mode, essentially. I'm happy with this. This would have been really cool to get. Also, there was going to be an activator for Rodimus that also never quite made it to prototype stage. And for an activators, like as far as like one-step changers go, weren't really bad. There were a few bad ones, high lockdown, but for the most part, activators were probably one of the better like one-step changer toys we'd ever gotten. Yeah, and this one looked like it would have been pretty good. I love when stuff like this is discovered, like the what if, what could have been. And you saw, like on Cybertron, there's so many Bumblebee type bots that this mold could have been done so many different times. Like if this was a modern generations mold, you would have seen it 6 times. What could have been. So much from animated we didn't get. It's really upsetting. But that is a look at the past. Let's look somewhere in the present, or rather the future in this case. We have a behind the scenes for Tidal Wave, and this answered a few things that I was curious about. For starters, like, they showed a lot of different size comparison stuff, so it is longer than the Arc or the Nemesis in vehicle mode, but it is much flatter. It's flatter than the Nemesis, obviously. You can see there the comparisons. It does actually measure well to the Arc, as far as, like, just sheer scale. There's the color CAD, looks really, really nice. The individual vehicles, the new base mode, which is still weird, but they explain that. The combined vehicle mode, which looks amazing. Size comparisons, he is gigantic, of course he is. There's a size comparison. Yeah, see, there's a little other things, like the fact that, like, in order to form the Burning Megatron combination, it requires parts of his hands to come off, but there are, like, faux hands. Like, the thumb can be rotated over to kind of simulate a hand using the gun as a thumb, which I think is a really clever workaround for that. Where's the shot I was looking at? There we go. There, the height of the robot. So, Nemesis is definitely taller, especially when you stand her completely upright. but about on par with how tall the Ark is. And the Ark is not a slouch. And obviously, since it has multiple modes to it, it's a lot more complicated than the Arc. So Tidal Wave's going to be a more compact, but I feel a more solid feeling Titan. I'm still waiting for someone to rotate a bicep under the, just above the elbow. I still haven't seen articulation in that direction, which I'm hoping for. So there are notes about this toy that they did include. So for starters, it cannot form the combined vehicle mode without part forming due to how much added articulation they put into the toy. That's kind of unfortunate considering the original toy could do it, and you figure like with modern engineering they could do just about anything that they, anything they could have done 20 years ago, they should be able to do now. So we won't know the extent of that until we get it in hand and actually find out for ourselves if it actually can do that or not. Or not that if it can or can't, but what the problem is. Why can't it? Because it seems like it should be able to, unless something went radically different because they added, ankle tilt. I don't know. No mention is made of the carrier ship actually opening up the way the original toy did, so losing that functionality sucks because I was really looking forward to that. But they did mention, like, there's a waist joint. It's another part of the articulation that hasn't been shown off, but apparently, yeah, it has a waist joint. They mentioned they didn't want this to be considered a part former, so they wanted to have a mode that it could go into without actually dismantling it and reassembling it. So it wanted an alt mode that the combined robot could go straight into. That's why they did the base mode. The irony to the base mode is the base mode does require quite a bit of part forming. A lot of little pieces have to come off and go somewhere else for detail, like the cannons and what forms the fake chunk that form or at least not the fake chunk, I guess, in this mode, but like the chunk of his hand that's being used as a tower there. That's part forming. that's part forming too. So they wanted to be able to say that it could form a mode without having to disassemble the vehicles, even if it's not the combined vehicle mode the character's known for. So okay, that's why it gets the base mode. But no, it's nice to get a better look at this. I'm super excited for this toy. I am super excited for this toy. I normally wait for Titans to go on sale before I get them because they always do. This one I'm just gonna grab. This one I'm just gonna drop the 200 as soon as I see it. I had a late night, so I woke up too late to jump at this, even if I really wanted to. Holidays restricting the bank right now. However, Hasbro did something out of nowhere. They actually released more HasLab figures from what they call the Vault. So you actually had, if you were a Pulse exclusive, premium exclusive person, you actually had the chance to purchase a HasLab toy that has already been in production. That's actually pretty surprising. Now, unfortunately, I got to this a little late. By the time I got to it, the whole page was taken down. I can't find it anywhere on the website anymore. Thank you, Grimlockamus, for actually screenshotting it so we can see, yes, it actually existed. For a short bit, Hasbro Pulse was just outright selling Star Saber and Unicron. I want to make this very clear at this point. This was not a new production run. This was not another wave. This is not a promise that Hasbro actually is going to sell Unicron and Victory Saber later on. That's not what this is. Typically with limited production run stuff, you have a limited number of extras that are produced that they keep on hand just in case something needs replacing. A part, a $575 figure came in with missing parts. Hasbro's got to be able to replace that. Most are going to be fine. Some are going to be busted. So for the ones that are busted, they have to have extra supply on hand to swap parts out or just replace the figure outright. That's what we're seeing here. Now that it's been long enough since Unicron and Victory Saber were produced, now they're okay to take all that excess stock and put it out for sale. That's why it was such a limited thing. So don't get excited that like you'll be able to buy Unicron from Hasbro directly some point in the future. Unfortunately, no, that's not going to happen. To the lucky few who got their hands on, a retail price Victory Saber and Unicron, congratulations. Good for you. Now, let's get to some in-hand stuff. We've got Scorponok, who is still looking really, really good considering it's such a minor point in the movie. I like the purple and the super dark blue. Really, really like that. Like dark cobalt. It's a really nice looking figure. I still really like how the scorpion arms work because it's a really clever way of doing it. I like the extra legs being able to work as like additional arms in robot mode. That lets them be a little bit extra creepy. Yeah, this is just a neat looking figure. Like for something that really Primal. For something that doesn't have to be a good looking figure, it is. It really is. Yes, size comparisons. You own a lot of toys. Congratulations. But yeah, look, it just looks cool. It looks interesting. Great troop building stuff if you liked Rise of the Beasts. Or if you just liked having a robotic scorpion, nice for that too. Looking forward to this one. We also got in hands for Studio Series Wheeljack. So I haven't actually browsed through these. So I'm actually curious if this solves some of my concerns with it. Robot mode from the front looks pretty good. I mean, it definitely feels like it's using the bulk of its vehicle a lot more than a lot of Studio Series figures because it's not like overtly shell-formy. Yeah, vehicle mode looks fine. Get off of yourself. Well articulated, so yeah, all good there. He still just kind of looks like his midsection is just too thin. Like too thin in like not like in the depth portion. Yeah, see, like that feels so thin. Like I feel like there should be more to his body at that point. See, like in angles like this, where you have to account for the backpack too. Like it just kind of looks awkward. Like I don't think it would bug me if he was like kind of like a thinner stature, but it's the fact that his arms and legs are so bulky. I kind of expect his body to kind of carry that a little bit, and it kind of doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't look like a bad figure, though. Like, for Studio Series, it looks like the kibbles kept to a minimum. Like I said, he looks pretty solid from what I can see. I'm not a huge fan of the character, but I might grab this if I don't have anything else better to buy at the time, and I just really need something new to goof with. I'll probably wait to see... what friends of mine say, and I'll wait for their opinions on the toy before I go in for it myself. One I might grab, just because it looks neat, is Mohawk. We got in hand of him as well. He's just a cute little motorcycle guy. He's just a little motorcycle guy. I can see the transformation scheme from here. It's not terribly complicated, but it actually does look like he's doing some unique things for a motorcycle transformer. You can remove his head. His head's on a 5mm. That's funny. You can actually canonically decapitate him. The one thing you got to do in the movie, and it's replicated here very well. Oh, don't do that. Don't shame him like that. No, it's just a neat little motorcycle guy. Yeah, and yeah, he just kind of looks like a neat little gremlin of a figure. Yeah, probably one of the rare Studio Series figures that I'm like actually wanting. So that's actually not bad. More in-hand shots for Crimson Flame, the Year of the Dragon exclusive from Asia, and he's still looking so good. He's still looking really good. The new tooling on the head really pushes the Chinese aesthetic. We mentioned that before. Yeah, he just looks like he's way better than, the Steelbane mold that he's based on. I would still love for someone to get this in hand and actually compare it to Steelbane. Just so we can actually see them side by side and see how much they actually changed. Still looking forward to this. I'm hoping Hasbro Pulsar, someone throws this up for pre-order somewhere, because apparently it's already out in Japan. Let's see. Yeah, only available at Singapore Comic-Con 2023. Revealed there and available at Amazon Singapore during the event. Showed up in Hong Kong as well. It sounds like the tolerances have been improved too, so they actually improved the mold. That's nice to hear. Hoping we get some kind of U.S. release because it looks good. He looks really good. All right, a little bit of preview stuff now, not actual in hand, but Takara showed off their Nemesis Bridge set from the Dynamic Capture series, and this is, of course, the big three of the Decepticons. So we got Soundwave. It's the Netflix mold, looking really, really good. Probably not going to yellow like your previous one, so I know a lot of people who are going to be looking out for that. We have the first and only time this Megatron has been done with a clean deco. Way, way overdue. I might grab this set just for that, because I'm that frustrated over the fact that I don't have a Megatron that doesn't have battle damage on him. So he's looking good. He's looking good. And then Shockwave, also done in cartoon accurate colors. No additional parts to him. He doesn't have all the extra extraneous junk that they did to bulk out his leader class price point. He just turns into like a narrow spaceship guy that looks like a laser gun with no handle. You know, well, that's fine too. Like, it just looks like a good Shockwave. It's a really good trio. It's a really good trio. And yes, of course, like, Megatron is also coming with Starscream's throne. So, you know, it's, you know, more appropriate for Megatron anyway. But no, I'm looking forward to this. Like, a lot of this Takara repaint stuff has really felt like Takara getting back to being Takara. And frankly, with how expensive Transformers are now, getting the imported, like, really nice versions really isn't that bad of an option. Okay, what else came out? They showed off this for Transformers Earthspark, the Battle Base trailer. So a full Optimus Prime with the trailer. It's just a Cyberverse repaint, and I am so sick of Hasbro cheaping out on this toy line. I get it, they have to repaint things in order to make actual money off of molds. First run doesn't make them a whole lot. Okay, I get that. Why does this toy line just continue to be abused? Why do they just continue to be as cheap as possible when it comes to the line that's, you know, from the current cartoon? That used to be a big deal. I don't know. It's an okay looking set. It's just disappointing. You'd at least throw in some kind of new Optimus Prime. Reuse the trailer, but like, give me some different Prime. You know, it isn't just like a repainted warrior class. I don't know, this is disappointing. So let's move on to other things. We've got some more collectible things. So Way Studios in China is producing these blind box Bumblebee movie figures, and they look so good for like blind boxy things. So it says it's based on the Bumblebee movie, and of course that's the Bumblebee from there. But they also threw in Shattered Glass for some reason. So we have a evil Gold Bug. We have Shattered Glass Soundwave with his bandana on. You know, and then we do still have like proper characters from that movie. Like Bumblebee looking pretty good. Or B127, I'm apologize, get his name right. I do like that they all have little diorama sets to them. That means linking them together, they'll look really good as well. I'm not going to lie, the Gold Bug's kind of sick. I'm not going to lie. That mold actually works really well for Gold Bug. Yeah, Soundwave, just kind of typical Soundwave. Not sure why his cannon's gray, but there you go. Shockwave looking good. Yeah, no Shattered Glass Optimus. It's a really nice set of figures. Like, China gets so many of these little collectible things that look so good, and we have next to no chance of getting a hold of them. Yeah, there's different ratios for which ones you may or may not get to. There is a Shattered Glass Optimus Prime. I forgot that. Yeah, it's the chase figure. It's super rare. So, yeah, you actually do have a chance of getting it. It's only a 1.6 chance. Good luck. I do like that they actually call it Optronics. They actually pulled one of his old comic book names instead of Orion Pax. Interesting. So, yeah, so just really nice looking figurines. Really nice looking figurines that you and I will probably not have any affordable option of getting. Other things that will potentially be available to us. XM Studios showed off their Beast Wars Megatron and Optimus Primal statues in full color. I mean, we think we've seen these before in gray, but now seeing them in color, we get a lot more of the detail. They are hyper-detailed versions of Beast Wars characters. I'm not a fan of how that Megatron's head sculpt is done. Like, there's something weird about it. I think it's too narrow at the top. Like, it just doesn't feel quite right. I mean, the overall pose is good, and I like the added detail, but, like, there's this, that head is just, yeah. There's something off about that head that I'm not quite agreeing with. Let's see, yeah, no. Don't leave the photos. Don't leave the photos. We need to see Primal as well. Primal looking good, too. It's kind of weird that it splits the difference in the head between the mask face and the unmasked by just painting the center of the mask blue. Okay, so you had two options and you went with neither. All right, let's see how that goes. That's the thing. And also the shoulder pauldrons aren't raised here. They should be sticking out, and they're just kind of hugging his arms, which is a little bit wrong. This is weird. This is weird that they've managed to, like, on both heads, seem to do something a little bit weird in their design aesthetic. I'm not sure how I feel about this head. It doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look right. Yeah, but it looks good overall. Looks good overall. I like the hyper detailing. But both of them have odd heads, man. Okay, last week we talked about the YOLO Park all clear purple Megatron, the reformatting Megatron. Now someone's got it in hand and looking very, very cool. See, this is the fun. Because the YOLO Park stuff is like you assemble it yourself, you can swap things like this. That's actually a pretty cool effect. That's actually a pretty cool effect, not gonna lie. Yeah. It's too bad that we couldn't get a hold of this. This was also exclusive to Singapore, I believe. Yeah, so getting a hold of this would be exceptionally difficult. But YOLO Park does great stuff, so this does not surprise me. You're going to be hearing more from YOLO Park fairly soon. I have new things on the way that should be pretty exciting. Speaking of things on the way, McFarland Toys, weird throw, but here we go. McFarland Toys announced a multi-brand licensing agreement with Hasbro, and they're going to be pushing their Page Punchers toy line in conjunction with Hasbro. So this is a weird throw here. This is actually kind of weird. So Page Punchers are comic book-based action figures, and they either come with a background that looks like the comic, or they come with a reprint of the comic. All I got to see were production photos of these, so I didn't actually see if there was an actual comic or not, so admittedly. But this does give them access to a whole bunch of Hasbro brands that they could potentially do. But apparently Transformers is going to be a thing. Apparently design samples were visible at the event where they announced this, but photos weren't allowed. So we haven't seen them, but they do exist. And it's interesting to me, with Super 7 Transformers seemingly not doing well, I see them on clearance all the time. I haven't heard any announcement of any new ones after, I believe, like the current Megatron wave. And Transformers Red seeming to be dead in the water, even though there are a couple listings for a few more. It seems interesting to me that another action figure company is going to take a stab at making non-transforming Transformers work. I have mixed feelings about McFarland Toys. They have a tendency to... I've had things that are poor quality from them. My Borderlands figures from them broke. And I have frustrations with how they handle licenses. For instance, the Vox Machina, they did 4 of the cast without completing the cast of 7. And that's super frustrating to me. So, yeah, I'm a little bit upset at McFarland at the moment. But we'll see how these turn out. We'll see how they turn out. All right, offbeat news for the week. First off, congratulations to Peter Cullen, who was officially awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Emmys. Pretty incredible. It was done at the second annual Children's and Family Emmys. So they branched it off into all the kids' stuff into a separate category. Great accomplishment. Very well deserved. Peter has been spending 40 years being a heroic character for children and for adults as well. Great to see him be recognized for the work. And yeah, the video of it is live as well. He gives a speech that's really touching. All right, oddball news. Icon Heroes is releasing a mouse pad themed after Transformers with Optimus and Megatron done up in street art style. $38 if you want a big desk mat that actually has some Transformers rep on it. I'm right-handed, which means I'd be dragging my face across Megatron all day. I don't know. I don't know how he'd feel about that. It just amuses me is all. But it's an interesting little thing. It's fun to know how many ways you can like go and customize your Transformers life. Did a whole video on that. NRG. You remember them? You remember them? Did Instruments of Destruction? 37 years ago in the animated movie. Look. So their song, for whatever reason, they just now decided to post the karaoke version of that song. So regardless of whether you want the Transformers version or the uncensored version with all the naughty adult words, you can now sing it to your heart's content. And that is over on their YouTube channel. Odd drop, but there you go. And I hate to end news roundups on things like this, but we do have to mention it. It is really sad when we have to go out on this, but we lost another one, unfortunately. Pauline Newstone. Pauline Newstone. Someone. I'm sorry. We have a typo here. We have a typo here that threw me off for a second. Pauline Newstone, who's the voice of Beast Wars Air Razor, as well as the Canadian / original voice of Frieza from Dragon Ball Z, unfortunately passed away. She was included in a memoriam segment at a recent award show, Gary Chalk attended. And yeah, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. It's weird to know that like we're losing people from the Beast Wars cast now. Oh well, unfortunately, that's how we have to end off today. So, rest in peace, Pauline. Thank you very much for all of your service to the voice industry. And that's going to do it for the news roundup. So, a little of a long one today, but yeah, we have a lot of news. No surprise in the Christmas season. So, thank you everyone for watching. I will see you next time.
We parlay with the captain.
You would think a werecroc is going to listen to elvish rules of piracy.
Of course it would be the freaking elves that invented parlay.
I had to think of a quick replacement for the French.